Huge sell-off, $1 trillion in value lost off the NASDAQ 100. Just want to get your take. Why yesterday? We've had these tariff concerns. We've had these recession concerns. Didn't seem to be any big economic reports or anything out. Why do you think it happened yesterday?
What's the rules of the game? In other words, from a macro perspective, in terms of tariffs, in terms of China export controls, I think that's really the one that's getting the tech trade nervous. Because when you look at export controls, what does that mean for NVIDIA? See chips selling off, AI revolution, a lot of those trades. And I think that, look, I think you're seeing, I believe the nervousness that I'm seeing, I'd compare to maybe some of those days even during COVID, in terms of March 2020. I'd say that level of nervousness, but I believe it's misplaced relative to where I view the fundamental stories playing out in tech.
Yeah, but I mean, have we known about those export controls for a while? I mean, it just seems like Monday, everybody started to believe that all these things were going to happen, tariffs, export controls, and did they just all of a sudden realize that the consumer is also stretched, which hits a number of these names?
Well, I think also maybe like some words about recession, you know, what does that mean for the consumer? Every data point sort of microanalyzed. Look, what I believe, especially in tech, look, valuations clearly are expensive if you don't believe what ultimately growth is going to look like. And I think right now, look, you're going through a gut check period for tech stocks. But I believe this is not the time to hit the exit run for the hills. I think you look at the winners. I think we navigate through, I'll call it an uncomfortable time for growth. And I think that's where the opportunities are.
I just want to be clear really quick. We were talking about the one thing that concerns you. It's the export controls. You think that's kind of the catalyst for some of this downturn. At the same time, I mean, you're known as one of the biggest bulls when it comes to tech on the street. A lot of times, you know, we have a little fun. You're talking about what time it is in the AI party. This is, like you said, a gut check. But I just want to talk to you about the fundamentals. You often talk about we're in a 10-year cycle when it comes to the AI build-out. Do you still believe that that cycle and that story is still intact?
Yeah, and look, we're in year 3 of what's essentially going to be an 8 to 10-year build-out. The reason those export controls, it sent such really nerve, you know, throughout the tech trade is that that's something that when it comes to supply chain, when it comes to a lot of the build-out from NVIDIA, when it comes to the data center point, but I believe bark's going to be worse than the bite, and this is not the time that in any sense for me, you know, we sort of peel back on the bull thesis.
I just want to kind of just go a little bit broader. Let's talk about something like the IGV, software. That seemed to be taken off in the early part of the year, but I'm looking right here. It pulled back more than 5% yesterday, not subject to those same export controls. A lot of their customers, when we're talking about the IGV, they're enterprise customers, not necessarily hit by the same impact from consumers. Why are we seeing that pullback? Why are we seeing the ARK Innovation ETF pulling back? Why are those things pulling back on that story of export controls and tariffs?
I think it's worrying about the self-fulfilling prophecy. In other words, if enterprises cut back, does any sort of that AI spend, that cloud spend sort of cut back? When you look at Oracle last night, I mean, Oracle strong in terms of data center, in terms of AI spend. But Frank, I just think right now we're going through one of those periods where good's bad, bad's worse. But that does create the opportunities for the names you want to own.
As we're looking at this, what seems to be a rotation away from these Mag 7 names, we're going to talk a bit more about that in just a second. We're going to talk about what's coming up. But first, I want to go back. DeepSeek, is that still hanging on the tech trade? Is that still impacting some parts of this?
I think lingering, but I do think as more has come out about that, I think that maybe the less nervousness in terms of what that means in terms of NVIDIA and the overall build-out. But it does speak to, is there a decoupling going on between the China trade and U.S. tech trade? And I think that's something you're even seeing in terms of in Hong Kong and more of the focus on China tech. But no doubt, I think DeepSeek's out there, and it puts more pressure in terms of Beltway, export controls. Is that a shot across the bow? I think that's how you sort of tie it all together.